Hey y'all, recently I've been confronted with the reality of death. When I was a young man, I didn't think much about death because I didn't think it had any application to my life. But recently, I've had several friends and acquaintances pass away, and I've been confronted with the fact that death is part of each one of our lives. The big question then is, how do we sum up, or how do we make sense of it all? What is it that really matters in a person's life? The rich man and the poor man go to the grave the same. There's no U-Hauls behind hearses because we can't take it with us. So whether we have a long time or a little, we don't know. But whatever time we have, what is it that we should be investing in? As we look at the scriptures, Jesus was asked about the greatest commandments in the Bible. And he said there are two. The first is to love God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. And the second is to love our neighbor as ourselves. When we look at these two commandments, we see that Jesus is outlining for us what our priorities ought to be as we live our lives and where we ought to invest our energy and our time. When we look at what he's saying here and we boil it down to its essence, we see that relationships are the most important things. All the money in the world cannot buy good relationships. And so Jesus begins with the most important relationship, and that's our relationship with God. You see, Christianity is more than just a set of rules or an ethic or philosophy to live by. Biblical Christianity is a real, intimate, growing relationship with Almighty God. It's a love-based relationship. We love him. Why? Because he first loved us. And so the greatest commandment is to love God with everything that's in us. But then he also says that we're to love our neighbor as ourselves. That means that we're to invest our lives into other people. That means that earthly relationships are vitally important. As we think about that, oftentimes we're so quick to throw relationships away or to give up on people. I know it's hard. Sometimes we get hurt. Sometimes people are not easy to love. But the reality is that Jesus didn't love us because we were lovable. Jesus loved us because he is a loving God. And he calls us to follow in his footsteps. As we think about what God has given us here on this earth, he's given us the opportunity to pour our hearts and our lives into other people and to love them in the same way that he has loved us. And when we do that, then we make eternal investments. Jesus told us not to lay up for ourselves treasure that will rust or corrupt, but to lay up for ourselves heavenly, eternal treasure. How much time do we spend worrying about, struggling with things that will not last? As we use the time that we have left, as I said, whether it's long or short, let's invest in a relationship with God that yields dividends in relationships with people. Love. Love people as you love God because he first loved you. God bless you.